Okay, playing a 15-minute game. Looks like we've got a Queen's Gambit offered, and we don't take it because we never do. Okay, so I think there's a line where you take here. I forget which opening that is, but we're going to go ahead and go with, what is it? The Semi-Slav? Where you get this structure? I don't remember. Okay, so now he's hampered the development of his dark squared bishop some. So we're probably going to be playing for maybe an e5 push eventually. I'm still not the best versed in d4 openings in the world. But okay, so now we can castle kingside, and he might try castling queenside, but it doesn't seem best, so he doesn't. Okay, so now I can get a rook to e8. Just to try and lock down on that e4 push that he's going to be making soon. Don't know that I can stop it entirely, though, since he has a lot of pieces on it, and yeah, that probably wouldn't even stop it. I could consider playing h6 to keep pieces out of g5 and to make sure he doesn't win h7 and get a pawn, but well, let's see. Okay, so actually I don't know whether I want to play rookie, and I probably do. And now maybe I could find a place to reroute this knight, which would bring my light squared bishop to life. Only problem could maybe be this square right here, e5. But I don't think that he has much of anything, so now we're getting my light squared bishop out, taking my knight over the kingside. Okay, it looks like he's getting ready to fianchetto his bishop. I am completely fine with that, I believe. So let's just get it back up. It's protecting h7 now by blocking this battery. If the bishop trades itself for the knight, I am also fine with that. I suppose maybe I'm supposed to eventually play for f5 with this pawn structure, and maybe it's bad that I'm not doing that, but for now I have an attack. And I think that eventually what he wants, if he doesn't go with the e4 plan, is to get a4 and b5 in. Okay, so now I could develop my bishop out somewhere, but he is challenged right here, so he'll have an isolated pawn and maybe not enough play for it now is my assessment. Okay, I don't want to lose this bishop because this is a really nice bishop. So now how does he take? Does he take with the rook? I'm fine with that. I think that I should still just continue with trying to get my light squared bishop developed. I think that's the plan that I go with. So, will I want it maybe on d5? He could try for d5 right now even, so... I can develop my bishop, I'm thinking either to g4 or e6. And I think maybe g4 is the more accurate square. Well, I'm not sure, because like if he pushes... I guess if I took, he could still just retake with the bishop. But, I don't know, I mean, I should be fine. Okay, so if I come here and he goes there with his knight, though, a piece could be getting in to g5 soon. That bishop is almost pinned, but not quite. So maybe if he brings his knight into g5, I can just play my bishop up here to d5 because the bishop is pinned. If the bishop moves. Or if the knight moves, then the bishop will be pinned. I meant. Okay, so I am using quite a bit of time, so I want to keep that under control. We could maybe get a rook to c8 if we're really planning on opening the c file at some point. But for now, I would like to keep it closed. It's not going to happen, but it would be cool if I could do a move like at some point queen a5 because it would hit e1 and it would also hit the entire 5th rank. But I don't think that that's really going to be a thing that ever wins me anything. So if he attacks my bishop with knight g5, I think I just play bishop d5. And then he can't take, because then I would take e1 with checkmate. If he plays the bishop to g5, I don't think there's a problem with me, and see, he's fianchettoing anyway, so it definitely won't be a problem now if he plays if I play queen a5, that's not ever going to be a problem for him anymore. So I think maybe now is the time for rook c8. He might try something like h4, h5, and trying to win this pawn, but I don't think that that's really much good. So I'm putting my rook on c8 to discourage the opening up of that c file. This does undefend b7, I suppose. If he ever moves his rook off of a1, I might have ideas, once again, of forking something. Suppose maybe I also have to watch out for ideas where he plays. Like, see, like right there, now he's wanting to threaten mate. So I can play either f6, I guess, or bishop e7. Kind of like bishop e7. But then again, I don't know, maybe e6 is good. Well, what he's threatening to do is push and then checkmate me. I would love to play queen somewhere, but that's not a thing yet, so I think that bishop e7 is the move. And now I can get it on this diagonal, challenging the queen. So now he can't play d5 without losing a pawn, because if he plays down, now I block the mate and attack the queen, so he has to move somewhere. And then I'm picking up this pawn, then, like, I guess we could trade bishops. Or maybe I trade... No, I don't think that I trade bishops before. Okay, so now we could play the bishop here, just discouraging that entirely. Make him find a new plan. I suppose also to consider I might have had, like, a5 for bishop b4, but he was going to push, and then he could have had things like where he goes there and I go here, and then he takes, and then, like, he's getting this with checking, he's getting my queen. I guess I get his rook, and I get his queen. It would have been a whole complicated bowl of stuff I don't want to deal with. So now I think I can just come up, like, defending b7. He might try and move a rook over, I suppose. And then push d5, but then maybe I bring a rook over to the d file. In fact, if this pawn push ever happens, I could take off that bishop. Maybe now I go ahead and play a5 when it's my turn. Because now my queen is out of any pins for the moment. My queen is also on diagonal, pointing towards the white king now. I think that this guy was thinking faster than me at first, but now he is down on time. Okay, right now I'm thinking that I'll definitely want to get a rook on the d file. Not sure which one yet. Okay, so if he pushes, I take with the pawn. And if he takes my bishop on f6, then I take his bishop. He retreats his bishop, I win his knight. So that's no good for him. I take the pawn, he takes the pawn, I take his bishop on d5. He takes mine, I take his knight. So that is again no good. So he can't push still. Can't get rid of that isolated pawn. He might have to start worrying about time soon, just because he's used so much of it. Okay, so he's getting his queen back over there. I'm not entirely sure what he's looking for, but this just makes getting a rook on the d file even more attractive. So let's do that. So now this is preventing a piece from maybe coming into, say, e5. Because then it could just be taken, of course. It's also still preventing the d5 push, I think, because I can just take his bishop and then win a pawn. So unless he wants me up a pawn, then he can't do that. He might be thinking of bringing his knight in to, like, g5, but I don't know, maybe then I just retreat my bishop or something, because you know, knight g5, it just seems like it doesn't really result in anything. Like, maybe I can even just play bishop g4 and he plays f3, and then he's weakened his dark squared diagonal leading up to his king. Or we trade off light squared bishops. And and I'd be fine with that. Or he'd just play his knight back, and then maybe I'd have enough to take somewhere. Okay, so maybe I consider playing the knight up anyway. This pawn is pinned now. This pawn is pinned now, so now maybe is the time to move the queen somewhere once again. Say if I move here and he moves the queen down here, it's probably fine. Oh yeah, he can't do that because then I could just take the bishop. So unpinning the c pawn, because he's just been going this whole game trying to get d5 in. One of the key things about isolated queen pawn when your opponent has one is to control the square in front of it. Meanwhile, he's just trying to cramp my play and get active pieces. So in light of that, I suppose I could be trying to get a knight e7, d5, but I don't know, I was pretty focused on attacking the king side earlier. Seemed to have rooted. So now, don't really mind if he takes the knight. I could try doubling almost, but if I do so, I think that I have to move my e-rook up. So that all my pieces remain defended. So move my e-rook up, try and double on the d-file, add to the pressure on that pawn. He could try an h-pawn push, like I said earlier, but I really don't think that that ever leads anywhere. Since, I mean, we just trade h-pawns. And what was the big deal? Okay, so he's under 4 minutes. He is under 4 minutes. I'm pretty sure this all tactically works out. Like, if he goes here, and I take, and he takes, and then I take, and if he takes here, I take there first, then he takes and I take, and I'm fairly certain that I come out of this up a pawn, if he pushes still. Okay, thank you, good sir, for forcing my rook onto a square it was headed to anyway. Okay, so I guess now maybe I can come down here, and if he takes there, then would that be any good? Because then he gets this pawn. Well, I don't know that I can avoid letting it fall off right now, so. So, if he takes and I push up, then he takes with the bishop, not with the queen, I don't think. And then I take his bishop, he takes my rook, I take his bishop. He's gotten 2 pawns and a rook. I've gotten the bishop pair. But his pawn in the center is isolated. And I think that the bishop pair is pretty okay in that situation, so this pawn is no longer pinned as a bonus because the rook covers it, and this rook isn't pinned to this rook quite yet because this bishop covers it. I feel like his bishop is on the wrong square. Like, I don't know, maybe I could even just like push and then push. No, not quite that. Not quite. Like, I could technically win a pawn, I suppose, like if I pushed and then, oh no, but c6 would hang. I was gonna say if I pushed then took on d4, but maybe I could consider like a bishop d5 soon, trading light squared bishops, solidifying like a blockade on d5, giving me room to move my knight away because it would get rid of that battery. And I don't know, I mean, at this point really, if you look at the clocks, then I think that my next move could, in all seriousness, be queen takes h2, check. Unless there is a magical way he can checkmate me in the next 40 seconds. I don't know, I mean, I guess that's a lot of moves, and he would be winning even more by the time that he ran out of time, but that's just really not a lot of time to have left. Okay, so now he's doing what I wanted once again, and giving me a trade. So now I could actually win that pawn, maybe? Okay, let's look at that, because not getting mated is really all that we need right now. So I push, he goes back, I take, knight takes, I think I get mated still if I do that. So let's not get mated. I could try. I can't take my queen off the defense of this rook just yet either. I think that maybe what I do is give myself an now. Just refuse to be in any mating shenanigans. Also limiting the scope of his knight. He has 8 seconds. If he ever moves that E rook, then I could play. This is just a free thing, isn't it? This looks like a free pawn. Okay, well, he didn't have time to show me whatever he wanted to show me. The brilliant continuation where he somehow gets all my pieces. He has offered a rematch, but it's almost when oh, and he left now while I was thinking about it, so that automatically challenges, or not challenges, that automatically cancels any rematch request leaving does. So I'm not the best versed in this opening. I think that this is where he made a mistake. Maybe not like a big one, and hey, that could even be theory and I'm just wrong. But or maybe it was here, like delaying with his e4 push. It gave me time to get around. And now he has this isolated pawn, but he's having a hard time moving it forward, I mean. Now he's trying to use just empty threats. A lot of the time, I felt. So now again, he's just trying to push the pawn, so I don't trying to push the pawn. He keeps on trying to push the pawn. I don't know. Yeah, I just couldn't that sentence out. So now I'm trying to increase my control over the square in front of the pawn, and maybe even just round the pawn up later. Not earlier. And yeah, he attacks my queen. I don't know, maybe he had something with bishop takes here. Probably not. Probably not is my assessment. And then at this point, he is just getting rid of pressure that he had on my king side, but he was running low on time anyway, so can't fault him too much for that. Yeah, I was saying that if he ever moved this rook, then I'd have rook here, and then taking the bishop. No, I guess he could just move the queen back and guard the rook. There was a pin there, though, the point was. Or maybe I could just consider, like right now, pushing here, then the bishop moves back, then I push again, attacking this pawn. He does have enough defense to move it forward for a moment, but it is pretty weak, and it would probably fall eventually. Also, that would be cutting this bishop off of this diagonal, which was why any back rank stuff would still be checkmate, even if the knight blocked, because the bishop would have been on it. So I had to worry about that, but then he threw me a pawn for reasons I don't quite understand. I mean, his queen is attacked here, so he pretty much has to take. Then I take, and then maybe what he was going for was removing my knight from the defense of h7 here, and then like he wanted to push and then take. Or right, no, he couldn't with the queen because the queen is there, but I don't know, maybe he was wanting that just for me to not have that escape square. Maybe he's trying to take that away. But I don't think that it's the best move really by any means, because I mean, I'm gonna untangle eventually. I'm not gonna get mated. I mean, I've got lots of time, and now I'm up a pawn. But good game, I suppose. He just took a little bit too long. Let me think on his time instead of mine. So, thank you for watching, and see you next time.